Hello, good day. This is Enoc of BSM1-A and I will be your speaker or lecturer for today's video. The dangers of deception. Before we start, let us have a quick overview of today's video presentation. So in this video presentation, we are going to tackle about what is deception, the types of deception, the reasons or factors why is deception happening, what are its implications to the deceiver, and how we can spot and prevent ourselves from being a victim of deception. So, before we're going to dive into our topic, first, what is deception? According to Wikipedia, deception or falsehood is an act or statement that misleads, hides the truth, or promotes a belief, concept, or idea that is not true. It is often done for personal gain or advantage. Deception can involve dissimulation or propaganda and sleight of hand as well as destruction of anything, camouflage and concealment of scenes. There is also self-deception, which can also be called with varying subjective implications, beguilement, deceit, bluff, mystification, or subterfuge. Deception is a major relational transgression that often leads to feelings of betrayal and distrust between relational partners. Deception violates relational rules and is considered to be a negative violation of expectations. Wikipedia said that most people expect friends, relational partners, and even strangers to be truthful most of the time. If people expected most conversations to be untruthful, talking and communicating with others would require distraction and misdirection to acquire reliable information. A significant amount of deception occurs between some romantic and relational partners. Deception is one of the sins that is practiced often but rarely tolerated. The lowest of the low in society are liars and thieves. Deception is just another form of lying, but with a stronger degree of wrong because the deceiver purposely misleads others into believing that a lie is really what is true. In many cases, deception is dangerous and has been the cause of death for many who have been the unknowing victims of deception. There are three types or forms of deception. First is self-deception, second is deceiving others, and the third is the accidental deception. First one is the self-deception. This is when you are deceiving yourself about things like fantasizing of things like feelings, fear, and emotions. Second is deceiving others. This is when you intentionally deceive others just for your own greed and desires. Third and the final one is the accidental deception. This is a situation where you don't know that you are being deceived by someone. He or she tells you about information of something, then you pass that information into others without checking if the actual information is accurate and reliable. There are sins of commission and sins of omission. Omitting information and concealing the truth are considered lies when they are done with an intent to deceive. In addition to statements that are false, deception encompasses statements that misrepresent or distort facts as well as withholding of information. People can lie through outright statements or by strategic silence. Self-deception. Self-deception is a personality trait and an independent mental state. It involves a combination of a conscious motivational false belief and a contradictory unconscious real belief, according to Heppel and Trivers 2011. Self-deception happens when the person you fool is yourself. It's possible to get trapped in a cycle of self-deception, a cycle that reinforces you false beliefs and that prevents you from knowing and understanding what's true. Social psychology shows that humans have a fondness of self-deception. People routinely overestimate their positive attributes and underestimate their negative ones. For example, people routinely overestimate their intelligence, attractiveness, and competence, and they underestimate their mistakes, character flaws, and ignorance. But why do they do this? There is evidence that some degree of self-deception contributes to mental health. Among other things, magnifying our positive attributes and minimizing our negative ones can boost our self-esteem. And self-esteem is essential to mental health. But self-deception has a downside. It prevents us from seeing how things really are and from making well-informed decisions. Deceiving others. It refers to the act, big or small, cruel or kind, of encouraging people to believe information that is not true. Lying is a common form of deception, stating something known to be untrue with the intent to deceive. Trust is the bedrock of social life at all levels, from romance and parenting to national government. Deception always undermines it, because truth is so essential to the human enterprise which relies on a shared view of reality. The default assumption most people have is that others are truthful in their communications and dealings. There are too many situations, circumstances, or forms of deceiving other people, but I will only give one example which is very common and rampant nowadays, and that is the social media identity deception. Deception on social media continues to be a major concern, and its detection and prevention has been attracting a lot of attention by researchers. The growth of social media platforms in the last decade has changed the way people interact with one another. However, the use of these media has also created new opportunities for individuals and organizations to deceive social media users. Identity deception occurs when someone pretends to be someone but he is not. The victim, which is the social media user, is unaware the identity of the deceiver or part of the information in the message is concealed, altered, or deceptive. Some of the motives behind social media deception are relationship driven, which is building strong relationship, and identity driven, which is protecting the deceiver's identity. There are three types of social media identity deception. First is identity concealment, which occurs when part of the identity information or its source is omitted or altered. Second is identity theft, which occurs when a person's identity is stolen. And the third one is the identity forgery, which occurs when a new persona is created along with a new history record. Accidental deception. This is simply a situation where a person doesn't know that he or she is being deceived by someone. The deceiver tells him or her about information of something, then he or she passes that information into others without checking if the actual information is accurate and reliable. One of the best examples that can describe this form of deception are the social media posts about job hiring in other countries, which is widely spreading in all social media platforms. In the given picture, we can easily tell that the message or post being spread is a form of deception. It's not only unreliable and inaccurate, It also didn't give the exact information that an employee needed. Why do people engage in deception? According to an expert, lies are like wishes. What is said are things people wish were true. A large body of research identifies three major reasons or factors why people lie or engage in deception. First, to get something they want, or also called an instrumental reasons. Second, to protect themselves. And third, to harm others. Avoiding punishment may be the main motivation for children and adults. While everyone lies a little, it appears that only a small percentage of people do most of the lying. There is evidence that prolific liars share the personality trait of Machiavellianism. They are manipulative and exploitative of others. The trait is closely related to psychopathy. Effects of deception. During the communication process, the effects of deception on the deceiver appear as changes in perception of one's own power as well as relational closeness. Additionally, the emotions of fear, guilt, and shame can lead to suspicion and probing by the target that can further aggravate situational cognition. Telling white lies can escalate into telling more damaging lies. Many people know they shouldn't lie to their friends, but they feel they are justified in lying to a person they do not know. Ultimately, lying to strangers leads us to lie to people we care about and eventually to ourselves. And when we are dishonest with ourselves, we become out of touch with how our actions affects others. Therefore, while lying may seem like a short-term solution to an uncomfortable situation, the long-term dangers must not be overlooked. How to spot and prevent deception. Many experts propose that liars reveal themselves in tells major and minor changes in body language and facial expressions. But observable signs of lying can also be unreliable. Studies show that children under 2 never lie and that lying peaks in adolescence, when social relationships take a heightened importance. There is a long-standing belief that the eyes are a window to the truth, that liars are shifty and inadvertently signal their deception by averting their gaze or altogether avoiding looking a conversation partner in the eye. Covering a neck with a hand, raising the inside edge of a foot, compressing the lips, all are signs of tension that has been linked to lying. There is also a widespread belief that the body and face are always honest and provides reliable clues to lying, often called tells if you know what to look for. If we can spot these clues, we must immediately correct them and must tell ourselves not to believe in what they are saying since they intentionally tell us the wrong information. To prevent from being a victim of deception, we must be knowledgeable of things and learn to evaluate informations. We must not easily believe on someone, especially strangers we never met before. Thus, we must avoid this kind of people for our own good and for our own safety. According to an article written by Christ Alliance Church, no one likes to be deceived. There is an inherent desire in each human being to know the truth and be told the truth. Deception is very dangerous. When discovered, it breaks the bonds of trust that we shared with one another. It makes it harder to develop trust with others in the future. It sets up a stage where the economic potential of people can be adversely affected. Deception undermines the unwritten rules of societal interaction. And the very act of deception is born from a self-serving desire to manipulate the circumstances of others in order to gain a more favorable advantage in those circumstances. While there are some people who actually receive great pleasure from the ability to deceive and rejoice in the consequences that others find themselves when they believe the lie, most people in their core feel ashamed once they have deceived another. Deception affects more than just the person or persons who are the intended target. It affects the lives of everyone around them and potentially the lives of people who the targets will interact with in the future. Deception does not only change the circumstances of victims, but also the perpetrator. And that would be all. Again, this is Kenner Enoc of BSM1-A. Thank you for listening and have a great day. Bye!